We're back on Get Up, and, you know, we do this feature called Zero Fox Given during the football season with Dominique, and we've got a one-off here. Neek, what did we make of the Falcons poking a little fun at, at Bill Belichick and his girlfriend during their schedule release?
Oh, I loved it. I think the Falcons were very close and were considering hiring Bill Belichick. But this feels like a little bit of a reminder to the fans that maybe they made the right decision, because I'm not sure that any NFL team would want to be involved in the Bill Belichick business right now. But it's still fun for all of us. They did it perfectly. They got really close to the line. They didn't cross it. And they pointed out to us something to laugh at. So shout out to the Falcons.
I would say, too, that Bill has drawn first blood in this battle, right? He was wearing the 28-3 shirt.
And constant digs at the Falcons throughout the season. So sorry, Bill.
All right, let's do Traeger and Graziano are here. Peter, give us your first impressions. You weren't with us yesterday. NFL schedule release. Take us through some of the things you thought were important that we saw come out on Wednesday
I don't think the
night.
defending champions were done any favors. I think the Eagles were given a very difficult schedule. They had no back-to-back home games throughout the entire season. And look at those final 3 weeks. At Commanders, at Bills, Commanders.
Wow.
Now, you could say, hey, look, they're the Eagles. They should beat those teams. I would take a nice little Raiders or Giants in that mix if I'm the Eagles down the stretch. The Eagles were done absolutely no favors, no back-to-back home games, and then a murderer's row at the end of the season.
And you have, in case, because Peter is new to our group, you can explain, and everyone, that there's no way the Eagles win the division.
Well aware that the Eagles can't possibly win the NFC East.
Right.
Yeah, that's the rule. 21 years.
21 years.
The streak is old enough to drink.
That's right. No team has won the division in back-to-back seasons.
That's a big stretch for the Commanders, maybe.
So maybe keep an eye on the Giants. What was your next impression?
Good luck. Oh, my gosh. The hardest schedule in football record-wise. And then if you look at these first 9 games, where's the win? 7 of these teams went to the playoffs. The other teams, the 49ers, who are a perennial football team, start the season at Commanders, at Cowboys. If you're a Giants fan, you're like, all right, finally a home opener. Who is it? Oh, it's Mahomes and the Chiefs on Sunday night. We have all these celebrations about the Giants draft class. They might start the season off 0-9. So sorry, Giants. I'm sorry, it's tough.
And then give us one more.
One more. Bengals. If you're not going to start off the season well this year, it just may never happen for you. Every year the Bengals start off terribly out of the gates. This year they start off at the Browns, then they host the Jaguars, and they get J.J. McCarthy in their third game, which is not an easy game, but gosh, you got to have a win in these 3. Bengals, infamously under Zach Taylor, terrible in September. If this is not the year with Jaguars, Browns at the start of the season, it may never happen.
They always struggle in Cleveland, though. Like, even when they were great, they struggle in Cleveland. And they lost to the Patriots in Week 1 last year. Like, there's nothing that stands in the way of a slow Bengals start. That would be a shocker.
Well, stay in the division here in the AFC North, as the Bengals are the second favorites to win it behind the Ravens. Baltimore has won it back-to-back seasons. The Steelers have the 3rd best odds. They've not won that division in 5 years. We know all there is to know about the Steelers, right? They never have a losing record. They make the playoffs, but don't ever really compete. Here was our favorite Steeler, Ryan Clark, yesterday on First Take, talking about his team and his coach.
I believe Mike Tomlin should coach in another organization. Mike Tomlin should be a fresh voice somewhere else, because I believe, as great as a coach he is, and he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, I believe his voice has run stale there. I believe he's allowed that team to reach the highest of heights they're going to reach unless they can get a top-tier quarterback.
So I'm trying to decipher what you're saying.
He needs to go have his Andy Reid Kansas City run.
I got you.
So I like the analogy. Andy Reid, enormous success in Philadelphia, went to a Super Bowl, didn't win it. Obviously, Tomlin has won the Super Bowl in Pittsburgh, but then went and had this enormous second act. Dominique Foxworth, does it make sense?
I mean, everyone would love to have an Andy Reid run, but I mean, the obvious thing is sitting right there. The Patrick Mahomes of it is what really matters. Like, Andy Reid went out to Kansas City and they were still very good, but they were a lot like his Eagles teams. Very, very good in the regular season, but couldn't quite get it done in the postseason. So I think the simple answer to Mike Tomlin moving to a new situation is he needs a quarterback. If that new situation includes a quarterback, by all means, go for it. Or if you can get a quarterback in Pittsburgh, I think that Mike Mike Tomlin will be just fine there. So obviously we all respect what Ryan Clark said and what his insight might be in the Steelers organization, but there's no evidence that Mike Tomlin's message has gotten stale in Pittsburgh, at least not by the records that they put out based on the talent that we've seen.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that it's Ryan saying it because of his close ties to Tomlin and the organization. And it's interesting because I've heard Ryan say it before. I think he was sitting right here. It was either at the end of last year or the year before. And it's an interesting point. But I agree with Dominique. I think the Steelers are getting as much, if not more, out of their rosters year after year as can be expected, given the quarterback situation and the overall talent level on the roster. So if his voice was running stale, Andy Reid went 4-12 in his last season in Philadelphia. Remember, it was the dream team year where they got all those guys in and it fell completely apart. If something like that happened, I think I would be more inclined to say his voice seems like it's getting stale. But I think the Steelers in the last couple of years have kind of overachieved. I know the fans don't want to hear it.
It feels necessary to remind anyone who doesn't know the Steelers have had 3 head coaches since 1969. The Steelers since 1969 have had as many head coaches as the New York Jets have had since the beginning of last season. So that's how much stability there is in that organization. They don't change coaches frequently.
You hear it from Steelers fans, though. Like, we're in the national media, and we always hear, like, you in the national media love Tomlin. You're all about, like, Tomlin can't win the big one. Steelers fans are like, he doesn't win. He doesn't win when it matters. So I see Ryan saying this, and to your point, Dan, like, this isn't coming from some talking. Ryan Clark is a beloved Steeler who is very close with Mike Tomlin. So I see that, and that's why this gets attention. When you say the word stale, that said, he still is the loudest voice in the building. And if he were to leave Pittsburgh, and he would have to be fired, because I don't think it would be able to go contractually this way, there would be a line of probably 15 teams to hire. And guess what? There would be a line of not only 4 broadcast networks, but 11 streamers and whoever else the NFL commissioner is doing upfronts for to get him on a broadcast crew. So Tomlin would still be the #1 target in the offseason if he were to ever leave Pittsburgh.
Yes, he's the best speaker of words of anyone I know. I always say I love the way he says words, regardless of what they are. So, Dominique, a quick final thought here on this. If Aaron Rodgers decides to come out of whatever hibernation he's currently in and play for the Steelers, would that be the solution to the quarterback question you're talking about?
I don't think it solves the problem that they have there. They need a quarterback that they can rely on to have success and stay healthy. I'm not sure that Aaron Rodgers at this point in his career is that guy. And he's certainly not the long-term answer, even if he's able to give them just a little jolt for this coming season. So maybe they'll be a little bit better, but I don't think this is the prayers that Mike Tomlin may have for a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers isn't that answer.
If Aaron Rodgers was that answer, there'd be more than one team interested in him. Like he's had one offer, right?
The Giants wanted him too, right? But that's a whole no.
Giants may have wanted him.
They may have wanted him.
I'm maybe a little more optimistic on it. I think they've got a pretty good roster. I think Rodgers is a winner, and I think when it comes down to it, Tomlin's a coach that gets you 9 wins regardless of who's at quarterback. He's an upgrade from Mason Rudolph. If they have Rodgers, I'm not saying the season is going to be a Super Bowl season, but I still think they'll be relevant.
Well, they'll be relevant. I guess that's the point. They're relevant every single year. And irrelevant has not been